Welcome back to the Key and J Books Podcast. I'm your co-host Jay, along with my co-host Key. And today we're going to talk about Callie Hart new release. What is it? Brimstone, the second book to Quicksilver. But we'll talk about the midnight release, and we'll talk about all the events that's been, tackling, and people who tackling the topic of going through book talk about her book, and the misprints in the book, and replay of the word mate, and a bunch of other stuff. But before we get into that, how was the week thus far?
The week thus far is really good. I'm really excited. Thanksgiving is coming up in a couple of days. That's always time to spend with family. And thankfully, my job, I'm off Thursday and Friday for Thanksgiving. So I'm looking forward to this extended weekend. What about you, Jay?
Hey, man, we get 4 hours tomorrow from the state. So I only got to work a half a day tomorrow. So tomorrow I get out of there about 11, but might go, might not. I don't know how I'm feeling yet. Thanksgiving weekend. So if y'all listening to this, this is what, 2 days. This is Tuesday, 2 days before Thanksgiving. And we hope everybody have a happy holiday and a safe holiday. Go for Black Friday. Go for what you know. And I ain't doing no Black Friday shopping. I did all my stuff.
I feel like everything that I want, I get for myself immediately. I don't ever wait until Black Friday. So everybody be going crazy. I'm like, I don't need anything. I got a big ass TV. I got all the clothes and shoes that I need. I'm good. I'm set. I'm saving my money for Christmas.
True story. Yep. Yeah, man. Yep. But there's been a controversy, a little bit of controversy. And I had text, I'm going to keep it a band, right? Because we talked about this off camera. Yep. I text you. I say, yo, we missed our window, right?
Yep.
About Brimstone. I sent her a video of the midnight release for Callie Hart's Brimstone, right? Now, let me be clear. I haven't read Quicksilver, right? I haven't read Brimstone, right? I'm only talking pure. My tangent right now is going to be a little off script, right? Not off script, but
talk your shit.
To me, I just feel like we're not getting the recognition that we deserve. But we talk about African American authors, we talk about Black fantasy writers, Black thriller writers, right? S.A. Cosby, his book came and went. It was hot on Book Talk for less than a month. You know what I'm saying? I watched it. That's why I didn't read it, right? Not because I don't want to read it, because I am going to read it, but I just watched like the public eat it up for 2 or 3 days. It's not a Rebecca Yarros Fourth Wing Empyrean series where like people are still reading and talking about the book, and it was all Shadow Zaddy and all of this extra stuff, right? Whether you got what's the controversial author name?
SJM,
the one who wrote the Akatar series and everything like that, and the stuff that happened with her and how she said that disrespectful. She had a disrespectful thing that she said about the Black lady who passed away. But I just feel like, in my opinion, right, from being on Book Talk for the last 2.5 years, for the last past 3 years, it's like when it comes to Black authors, we don't get that midnight release, right? And I don't know what the answer is to it, but I had this conversation with you. LDW, Darion Williams released his book, right? But he had Bones at the Crossroads and he had Blood at the Root. And he steady fighting with people online about, his explanation of Black boy trauma and all that. No other authors be going through none of this stuff when it comes down to the MMC in the book, right? The main male character. It's just feel like we have to explain ourselves, right? And for a book that we wrote, right? And people don't really get a chance to understand that because they ain't been through that. So they have these questions. He's arguing with people online, but I ain't really see that about Rebecca Yarrow's book. I just seen it was just all love. Even when I was reading Tracy Wolf's book, the Crave series, I just seen it was just all love, right? Ain't nobody had no problems when the Akatar series dropped. Everything was all love, right? And I just so happened this weekend, I was like, yo, I text you. I sent you the video about the midnight release book in New York. You see how long that line was around the block, right?
It was wrapped around the corner.
I've been to a midnight release book party. I went to the Iron Flame book release party, right? And that was almost 2 years ago, I'm going to say, right? Almost 2 years ago, right? So I'm looking at it from a perspective of where is the Black midnight release? Like, we don't have nobody in that space that's that huge. We seen Rebecca Yarros, Bus Dragon. She's all over the stuff. She wrote another book after Iron Flame, after Onyx Storm, a whole love book. And that's still not getting as much love as her Empyrean series. You feel what I'm saying? So like she done got it. It got picked up by Amazon Studios with Michael B. Jordan. He gonna do whatever type of adaptation that it is. You get what I'm saying? So I'm just like, what is it about the Black authors that we're not getting that type of love? It can't be the writing because LDW book was crazy. right? I feel like his Bones at the Crossroads was crazy. People don't really like, I ain't gonna say people don't really like, a lot of people had controversies with Bones at the Crossroads, but Blood at the Root is a classic,
Yeah, I
right?
really like Blood at the
And
Root.
you would have thought that even still, if Quicksilver could be a classic, but then people don't really love Brimstone from what I've seen online. A lot of people got a lot of discrepancies. Why wasn't he awarded the same lane that some of these other authors was awarded? You know what I'm saying? I just see the miscommunication, and I don't know what it is. I really don't. I don't know if somebody can help me figure out what it is with the African American authors, whether thriller or fantasy. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is it? And you've been kind of reading longer than me as far as like on a consistent level. So what do you think the issue is with the two?
So my take on it is, I feel like as Black people, we've always had to assimilate ourselves into society with white people. Like, that's just, we have always been the minority. And so we've gotten used to, like, when it comes to reading books, most of the books that I read are written by African American authors. I make sure I have this process where if I read a book by a non-Black author, the next book I read is going to be by a Black author. But speaking of when I was growing up, there weren't many like African American authors that were like very prevalent back then. And I feel like I never saw myself in the books with white people, but it was just to be expected. We are the minority. And I feel like now that Black authors are getting more and more publicity, I feel like we as African Americans are pushing that. But we have to also understand that if you're a white person, you're going to be reading books by white people. And I'm not blaming anybody. And you may be marketing these books because you're white, they're written by white authors, and they're going to continuously get that marketing, you know what I mean? And you have to look at Rebecca Yarros's book was not just popular among white people. It was popular among everybody. And I found that a lot of Black books that are written, when I even read reviews by non-Black people, it's like they don't get it and they are not marketing it enough because they don't really understand like our culture and things. And that's why I've even said I don't read book reviews or listen to book reviews from Black authors if you're not a Black person reviewing it, because I feel like a lot of the reviews that I would read, it was like cultural things that they didn't like about the book. It's like, you don't get that. Like, you wouldn't understand that. But long story short, I just think that we as Black people have to definitely focus more on our communities. That's something that I wanted to do with my own book talk channel starting next year. I'm going to be platforming almost all Black authors on my personal book talk channel. Every single book that I'm going to talk about is going to be by a Black author. And I feel like instead of us continuing to complain, we have to do something about it. Like, and the only thing that I can think to do for myself is continuously support Black authors, continuously push that out there more than anything else. When LaDarion Williams' book, Bones at the Crossroad, came out, I made several videos on it. I was like, it comes out in a week. It comes out tomorrow. I did a dancing video because that book was important to me. And I think we as Black people have to do the same in our communities. Like, we have to push these Black authors and these Black books more than anything else, put us first. And so that, I think that is part of it. A lot of mediocre white books are popular on Book Talk, and people love mediocre books written by white authors. Quicksilver being one of them. We're going to talk about that today, but I can't speak for anybody else. I just feel like we definitely have to do our part and continue to advertise those books, continue to get the word out. Like, we have to show the communities that this book is important. With Rebecca Yarros, with Callie Hart, there was such a demand for it that, of course, Barnes and Noble and all these people are going to do midnight releases because everybody wants it. We have to make sure we are demanding that you do a midnight release for this. We have a new Black book coming out. I think that we should start calling Barnes and Noble. Are you going to do a midnight release? Are you going to do a midnight release? Why are you not doing a midnight release? Like, we have to be more angry instead of just being like, oh, they don't talk about our books. They don't. Of course they don't. Like, are we new at this? We always get less than, but I feel like think about what we did with Target. Of course, that wasn't only about Black people. It was about diversity, equity, and inclusion, but people with all kinds of it wasn't just about Black people. But when we were like, we're done with Target, you will not get a single dollar. Target has been failing ever since because they had us fucked up. You know what I mean? And I think we have to do the same with the bookish community. You don't want to have a midnight release for our book, but you want to do it for this book? Well, we will not shop with you. We will get the book directly from the author site. You will not get a single sale from us because you're not even prioritizing our books. Why would I buy something from Barnes and Noble if you can't even have a midnight release for S.A. Cosby? for Legendborn, for Bones at the Crossroad. Why would I keep spending my money with you, And of course, I know Barnes & Noble is a popular bookstore, but us just complain about it, it's not going to do anything. We have to be like, oh, okay, you don't want to advertise, then we won't shop with you. We're going to go shop for someone else. We're going to buy it directly from the author's website. Hopefully they get more revenue that way anyway, and just show them we are not going to give you our business until you start prioritizing us, because it worked with Target. I feel like we should try it with the bookstores as well. So that's just my take on it. I think we just have to do more than just talk about it. We have to start putting belt to ass. You know what I mean? And let's get these people to know we are a priority. We will not be silenced. And that's why I said I want to do that with my platform next year. That's definitely something I wanted to change. Every single book that I talk about, I want it to be by a Black author. Even if I have to put out just one book review a week, because I read so many books, it doesn't matter. They're only going to be Black authors, because I want our people to get the same recognition as everybody else. And that starts with our communities.
Yeah. And next year we're going to be doing that with with our book podcast as well. So you can definitely tune in to us. We're going to be putting boots to the ground, right? So, we ain't going to just talk about it. We're going to start covering, because I ain't going to lie to you, man. I've been Freedom McFadden, you ain't going nowhere. Don't worry about you, girl. We ain't talking about you. We ain't never talk about you. But no, in all seriousness, we love all the authors, right? We not discriminating against no authors. We're just saying we have excellent authors too that need to be pushed to the front. I called and I asked Books A Million, was y'all doing a midnight release party for Bones at the Crossroads? They told me no. It won't popular enough with the book community. And I'm like, damn, we had S.A. Cosby come out with his book, and it was just a lot of people was talking about it, and then boom, quiet. I'm still seeing people talk about ACOTAR, right? And even us, and we haven't really covered. I think the only African American author we did cover was Adarian Williams, but don't worry.
We did another one. We did.
We got Tiffany D. Jackson. We did Blood in the Water. Yep. Yeah, and we got Alyssa Cole coming up next.
Yep. I think we should do some more Shanora Williams. She's another really good thriller author. Yep.
We definitely, and that's another thing with some.
I kept hearing on the bookish communities, and this is from Black people. I'm on threads a lot, and they'll be like, oh, well, Black authors don't do this or don't do that. Listen, I've read Black authors who do fantasy, who do sci-fi, who do mystery, thriller, romance. They make the same books as everybody else. It makes me sick when I hear people say that. Oh, they don't have books in this genre. Yes, they do. You're just not looking hard enough. And I'm sorry, that's not an excuse. Oh, they don't have it. They absolutely do. They absolutely do. It's just if you're not looking for it, you got to do your homework too. No one's just going to plant it in your lap. Look for it. Look for it. Look up Black fantasy books on Google. Google it and find the books that interest you. It's literally that easy. Look up Black romance books, Black sci-fi books. They write in every single genre, and they have been writing in every single genre. They just don't get the recognition that they deserve. And like I said, that's why I said, I think it starts with our community. I see so many videos, especially on Book Talk, Instagram threads, and people complain, and I get it. But we don't get the same recognition. Okay, we know that. We've been knowing that. You know what I mean? But what are we going to do about it? We can't just sit here saying the same thing every time. Oh, Legendborn didn't get a release. Okay, well, when Legendborn comes out, let's every single person scream about Legendborn. I want TikTok to be overrun with Legendborn. I want every single video to be nothing but Legendborn when that book comes out. So you literally cannot avoid it. It's not we talk about, no, because when Callie Hart came out with the second book, Brimstone, it's been all over Book Talk. That's all I see. Everybody's talking about this book, and it's just never that way for us. And I think we have to be the people that are doing it, so like I said, I definitely just think it starts with community, educating our people. This is a mystery book if you like mystery. This is this book if you like this book, because they are out there. It's just we got to do our homework, and we have to get our community together, and togetherness to help these authors get the recognition they deserve. So
right, and with this latest book release, right? I sent you I sent you the Callie Hart Brimstone joint, right? And I was like, yo, we need to jump on this, because I was on the wave of yo, this just released. I'm seeing a midnight release party, because since I've been reading, I've only seen maybe a couple of books that get that midnight release, and that line in New York was crazy. The hometown was outside. So then I get to TikTok, and then I see people on there thrashing the book, right? Just saying that it's trash. It didn't have no story. The storyline didn't add up. The plot didn't add up. The misprint of words, the use of the word mate, and a lot of things people found wrong with the book. Again, I've never read Quicksilver. I've never read Brimstone. I wanted to, but then I just started seeing a lot of people DNF in the book, talking about DNF in the book, saying that they listened to 40% of the book and they just can't do it, or getting through 40% of the book and they just can't do it. How is it that a book of this magnitude that came out is flopping, right? And we're not disrespecting the author, because we're not disrespecting the person. We only talking about the actual work that you put out there, right? Once you put it out there and you put pen to paper and you release it, it's for the general public to consume and to talk about it, right? It's the same thing with music. It's an art form. You put out your art and the art is to be discussed, whether negative or positive. We're only talking about the art form. We ain't talking about the person. We don't know this lady, right? So therefore, just follow what we're talking about. Don't go into the other stuff. Listen to what we're talking about when we're talking about the work. So as somebody who read Quicksilver, I'm going to hand it over to my co-host. Go ahead.
So just like Jay, I didn't even know Quicksilver had a sequel, but I seen this Brimstone book that was going crazy on Book Talk. And I admit I got a little bit of FOMO. I was just like, damn, like I want to buy the book. And imagine my surprise when I see that it's the freaking sequel to Quicksilver. And I was like, absolutely not. I don't care how many people's buying it. And the thing is, people were talking about it so much. I almost went back and tried to finish Quicksilver just so that I was like, I want to experience what they're experiencing. Absolutely not. Okay. I DNF'd the book at page 100. I couldn't even get through it. I thought that it from the beginning was an absolute mess. Okay. One thing, and people have talked about this with Brimstone, is this author is not very good at like continuation scenes and stuff like that. Like I seen one of the critiques in Brimstone, the girl had already took off her shirt and then a few lines later, she's taking it off again because she already took it off. That is something that I noticed with Quicksilver, Jay. There were so many parts where, like, for example, Ceres is the main character. She's running in one scene. The guards are chasing her, right? And then they're just not chasing her anymore. And I'm like, well, what happened? They didn't find her. She like, what the fuck? What happened to the guards that were chasing her? They were nowhere to be found. Number two, Ceres is supposed to be this smart ass character. Okay. She's supposed to be resourceful. You know what I mean? She's one of the stupidest characters in the book. I literally could not stand her. She steals something from a guard, tells the guard what ward she's in so that he can literally come and find her. And she knew that she was going to get in trouble. Why would you do that? Then she gives the shit to her brother, who she knows is an idiot, and he gets them caught. So she made just the most stupidest decisions in the beginning that absolutely made no sense. Okay. Then there's this part where she gets stabbed in the stomach, Jay. She's stabbed in the stomach. She stabbed all the way through her stomach to where the sword is touching the ground beneath her. Somehow she has her hands tied behind her back, Jay. Somehow she is able to stumble up and walk around with this sword picking out of her stomach to yank another sword out. Unbelievable. Unfucking believable. I was like, and again, it's fantasy. They can do whatever they want in fantasy, but that doesn't make sense. She should have been dead. Why is she not dead? And why is she walking around with a fucking sword in her stomach? Made no sense. And then we jump to the Fae world. It was completely sloppily done. In her world and Ceres' world, they barely talked about Fae. Barely. I didn't even know this was a book with fairies. I went into it blind, and she's just in the Fae world. What? I thought the book was absolutely ridiculous. Continuation issues. There were grammatical issues. I did not like Ceres. I didn't like any character in the book. I feel like she made stupid decisions. Like there were many scenes that I was just like, this just doesn't really make sense. I only got to page 100 and I felt that way. No, I DNF'd it. DNF'd it. And like I said, let me read my notes. I talked about the part where Ceres is being chased. There was no closure for the chase scenes. There was this queen Madra, who's just so evil and so bad, and she hates Ward 3 where Ceres is. Why does she hate Ward 3? What about the other wards? I mean, what's so special about Ward 3? We never know. The queen just hates Ward 3. She says they're rats. They all deserve to die. For what? What about the other wards? It was never explained. So that's when I see people continuing to hype up an absolutely mediocre book, it really does make me upset because it really wasn't a good book. So I feel vindicated when I see so many people talking about the mistakes that are in Brimstone. Mm-hmm. Like everybody was oh my gosh, we've got it, we're so excited. And then literally after they've read it, everybody is saying it's trash. Grammatical errors, the plot doesn't make sense. But it's like, y'all should have learned y'all lesson with Quicksilver. I even seen a video and the lady was like, she thought Quicksilver was bad. She wasn't going to continue the series, but she did anyway. And she DNF'd Brimstone. And I think this is another problem in the bookish community, not even just with white versus black authors, but when a series is so anticipated, I feel like there's enormous pressure on the author to just push them out because the readers are like, we want it. And I think she's already like pushing out the next book already with like a 2026 release date. I think that like that's too soon and you compromise the integrity of the story when you're just focused on, let's get the book out. Let's get the book out. Like, you skip editing. You don't have, like, I guess, beta readers to tell you, like, hey, this is wrong. These mistakes should have been caught, especially in a book that was so anticipated, especially for a book. You got people lined around the corner to read it. And you mean to tell me you still got grammatical errors? You did that in the first book. You did it, improved it. It just, I don't like that. And again, I'm not trying to, like Jay said, I'm not trying to disrespect the author. I've literally, someone sent me a video on TikTok and they was offended by a review that I did on a book. And I just was like, I don't mean to disrespect the authors. I knew when I wanted to be someone who talked about books critically on a podcast, whether that be on my social media, I was going to lose friends that were authors. Who wants to hear somebody just completely trashing and tearing down their book? And I get it. Okay, I get it. But I can't lie and say the book was good. I thought the book was very, very bad. And I only got to page 100 before I was like, I can't do it. I physically cannot read a single page more. Like, I was just like, I can't, you know? So it just, like I said, I feel vindicated though, because so many people are saying like how bad Brimstone is. And I don't like this for the author. You know, I never want an author to feel like, damn, everybody hates my book. But again, like you said, once you put pen to paper, people have the right to review it and talk about what they liked and what they didn't like, you know? And I think people just want you to be like, oh, well, what I didn't like was maybe, you know, the sunflowers. and I get that. I'm just not that type of person. I'm kind of an aggressive person. I got a kind of funny sense of humor, and that's just how I talk about it. You know, again, want to reiterate, I have no hate towards Callie Hart. You know, just the fact that you had a book published, the fact that you had such an amazing release, like, good for you. But I did not like the book. I will not be reading Callie Hart's second book. I will not be finishing the series. And other people are saying that the second book is bad too. So
shout out to them, man. But what we not gonna do is we not apologizing for nothing. So we ain't doing no more apology videos, none of that stuff, because we didn't disrespect the person. We only talking about the art form. So if you don't like our podcast, you don't like what we saying, you don't like what my co-host is saying, don't go to her page, right? You don't have to follow her page. You don't have to do none of that stuff. They got the scroll button. Scroll, take your finger and move it up before you stick it in your ass. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't really care about your opinion or what you think. We only talking about the work of the author. So if you can't get with that, that's on you. But
and yeah, like you said, we don't mean any disrespect to the author. I don't know nothing about this woman, and I don't care to know anything about her or any other author. I'm one of these people who, I know people are like, you know, don't separate the art from the artist. And I get that. I just am someone, I don't like, of course, if I hear you doing something crazy, I don't want to support something if you go against my own morals. Why am I putting money in your pocket when you're against who I am as a person, you know? Right. However, I don't look into authors' lives. I don't like look into what she's doing. So I just that's what I want to say. I'm not disrespecting the person, Callie Hart. This is us just strictly talking about this book. And I don't think that there's a problem with that. You know, people, I don't know. I feel like when book reviews came to social media, and then authors are also on social media, you know, usually you put your reviews on Goodreads. That is a space for readers. I wouldn't expect an author to go through and scroll through her reviews. And if you want to, that's you. But that is specifically a space for readers. Social media is for everybody. So when you open yourself up, you're an author, and now there's social media, people are going to talk about your books. Some people will like it. Some people will hate it. Some people will be nasty about it. Some people will be super nice. And I think that's just something that comes with being an author. And I promise you, I try my hardest to be as respectful as I can. But like I said, I have to be Kiera. Like, I didn't like this. I didn't like this. And that's just how I talk. I can't change that. And I'm not going to change that. You know, so I just, again, shout out to that author. Much success to you. You had a great midnight release. So congratulations for that. Being an author is such an accomplishment. It's tough, but it's such an accomplishment. So to all the authors out there that feel like I disrespected them per the video that I got in my TikTok DM, I'm sorry. I don't mean no disrespect. Happy to y'all for being authors, but if I didn't like the book, I gotta say I didn't like the book.
Shout out to them, man. But that's what happens, man. That's what happens. This is what happens when you have art. Like you write it and we review it. You know,
yeah,
it's out there. But we're going to get back into what we do. So we're going to be releasing our full book review of Carissa Broadbent's Serpent and the Wings of Night, man. Yep. Like, I'm enjoying the book. I'm eating it up right now. Y'all going to have that review this week, and more things to come. And we just ready to keep this ball rolling, man. This book is bringing me back to life with fantasy. I was dreading the fantasy, but it's bringing me back to life. I know we're going to come back with another thriller right after that.
Yep.
We haven't decided yet with the thriller. I think I know which one we going to do. Yeah, it's going to be a surprise. I think I know which one we going to do, because that one definitely got gotta get talked about. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Alyssa Cole is a bad mamma jamma. You know what I'm
She
saying?
is.
So
She is.
I can't wait to, you know what I'm saying, lock in with her book again and get right, man. Just get right. Anything you want to say to people before we get up out of here?
Nope, that's it. Just support Black authors, even if you're not Black,
Word.
especially if you're Black. And I wanted to just close it off with this. I seen a discussion. I always look at threads, and there was some people who feel like if you are Black, you should only be reading Black books, or you know what I mean, just to support. This is not my stance. I feel like I never would tell somebody what to read. You know, I just say it generally, like, you know, read Black authors. But if you're a Black person, read whatever you want to read. I'm just saying, if you take a look at the books that you read and it's majority non-Black authors, maybe just take a look at that. And I speak from experience. You know, I used to feel like I read so diversely, Jay. Like I used to just, because I read any and everything. I never even look at the author. I look at the synopsis. If it sounds good, I'm going to read it. And in my head, Black people write good books. I'm looking for good books. I'm naturally going to be reading Black authors. But I was looking at the books I was reading and I'm like, white author, white author, white author. And I'm like, damn, I'm thinking I read diverse and I don't, which is why I put that process in place. Every other book I read is by a Black author because I felt like I want to support my own before anybody else. Like I'm so proud of being Black. I'm so proud of our authors. Why would I not want to platform them above the white authors who already, without me doing it, have enough of a voice already on social media, you know? So just support Black authors. They write in all genres. Whatever you're looking for, there is a Black author who has written it. Yeah, they got it. So you just got to do your research.
Yeah, man. There y'all go, man. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy holidays to everybody. Sorry we had to end this holiday week off that, but it was something that we had to get off our chest. It was something that needed to be talked about. We ain't scared to talk about it because I don't give a damn what y'all say. For real.
I'm just
it's
like,
my co-host.
I'm at that age where it's just like, look, you don't have to like me. This is social media. Like, you don't know me in real life. We want as many supporters as we can get, but we always, that's one thing me and Jay always said, we want to be as honest as possible in our reviews and how we feel, and we gonna stay Black and die Black. So, which means we gonna support our people.
That's right. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. But until next time, man, she's that read up just to speak of peace.
Bye.